the show. It's so good to have your company here. It is really fun to be doing these shows again here in Melbourne. Do you know, it's not just great to have comedy back, it's also really wonderful that we're getting to travel around the country a little bit more, which is something that's happening for us, because my family live on the other side of Australia in Perth. And I got to go back there recently. Feels good to be back in Perth. I feel like, makes me feel young, like that lovely 18-year-old feeling of, I can't wait to leave Perth. Such a beautiful, familiar feeling. And my brother's there with his kids, and I took my kids. Every time I go to Perth, he wants to take me to all the best places to take kids in Perth. I'm like, okay, how about the airport? Anyway, lovely to be home, but good to see my folks. My dad has recently retired. He's taken up all sorts of new hobbies. His favourite seems to be leaving the room in the middle of the conversation. Don't know if anyone else here has an older man in their life that's nailed that, but it looks great. Like, honestly, I can't wait to be old enough to pull that on my family. Mum, Dad, me, having a chat in the lounge room, in the middle of it. Stands up, turns, walks over to the glass sliding door, opens it, closes it behind him, sits down, facing out. I'm like, the door is glass. We can see that you're actively... Like, he doesn't even make an excuse, like, oh, I need to go to the toilet. Just walks over, sits where we can see him. I'm banging on the glass going, we all want to leave this conversation, old man. Why does he get to do it? He's an absolute legend. He, the whole time I was there in Perth, he was wearing his favourite shoes. They are a pair of thongs, for people overseas, flip-flops. That will make more sense for people in the UK than thongs. My dad was not wearing a pair of thongs. My dad was wearing the same pair of flip-flops the entire time I was there, and they were like camouflage pattern, raggedy edge, really ugly. I'm like, Dad wasn't with the thongs. And he goes, well, I always found flip-flops a bit too tight. So now I buy them 3 sizes too big and cut them down with secateurs. Now, that is the sort of genius idea that takes a full 75 years to percolate, isn't it? Not coming up with that at 35. Look at you young people walking around in thongs that are too tight going, I'm not comfortable, but there's nothing I could do about it. Wrong. Also, I realise you're not wearing thongs. You still care if other people find you attractive. No, not my dad. I love it. Like, oh. Also, can we just acknowledge the audacity of suggesting that thongs are a restrictive piece of footwear? Are they, Dad? I always found thongs a bit too tight. Did you? How'd you cope with underwear? Don't answer that.